Morgan. Oh, here. And I want to welcome Craig. And hopefully things will go smooth this coming years. Okay, agenda approval, consent agenda, approval of minutes of 12/11/2023, approval of financial statements as of 12/31/2023, bills as presented, approval of liquor license, Dollar General, approval of license, coming down. Motion.
All of that.
I'll second. Bubba, how do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Bubba?
Yes.
Okay, town cleanup, Bob Cook.
Thank you for letting me address the council on town cleanup again. And thanks for getting me in early. I'm having some medical issues, so I appreciate being able to speak early. I'm here to seek approval for a 6th town cleanup in the last 7 years. We started, Dick and I started back in 2018, we had 2019. Molly Dolch and the FFA, West Central FFA kids joined us in 2021, 22, and 23. They've been very successful. They've helped the town get cleaner. We've had great feedback from the people we've served, both those that came, and we do try to pick up for elderly or people with physical limitations. Last year, that included 33 residences we went out to and helped with the aid of those kids. We want to do this on Friday, April 20th, and Saturday, April 27th. I assume we'll probably be doing our hours the same Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. We've, thanks to Molly's go-get-em attitude, we've taken also loads of appliances out of this town and took a burden off of people, especially some of those that maybe don't have the wherewithal to take them somewhere else. Molly is working this year on possibly being able to take some more electronics. She's finding an outlet, but there's no guarantee on that. So I'm just seeking approval. We've used, I think it's K&A Corey, Geisinger for the dumpsters the last couple of years. It's worked out well. The FFA kids are enthusiastic. Molly tells me this is the event they look most forward to in all their volunteer work. I'm just asking to see if we can get approval and move forward.
So you're asking for those dates and to use K&A again, right?
Well,
You're asking for those dates and to use K&A again, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we've cleared it with Corey the dates already.
Well, I
And
can get that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it, and I know they do look forward to that, so.
Okay, how do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Bubba?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, Stewart Depot. Lori Cook, first lady.
Thank you for hearing me, for letting me come before the council. Gentlemen of the council, Sarah, Mr. Asher, thank you very much. Mayor, yeah. So I'm here on behalf of the Stewart Depot, and I have 3 items I'd like to talk about tonight. The first item I'm going to be asking for some action on, and that is that we have Brenda Dudley as the manager of the depot. She's the one who schedules all of the events that people hold there. She keeps track of the dates. She collects the money. She is responsible for making sure that cleanup is done afterwards. So she has quite a bit of responsibility. And in your packets, we have listed in the letter with the letterhead of the depot up at the top. It talks about her salary. And we're asking for $10,200, which pays her salary of $800 and some a month. In the past couple of years, for her salary, we have had the city council supply part of the money, and then I write to the hotel motel tax to supply the rest. Last year, we had the city paid $5,200 worth of her salary. And then we got the additional $5,000 through the hotel motel tax. And so Brenda has agreed to once again be the manager, and to leave her salary at $10,200. And so we're asking for the $5,200 again. Oh, and also in the letter, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Last year at this time, we were asked to consider raising our rates, for the rental. And so, when we met, I can't remember the date, but sometime in the spring, we did raise the initial, day dollars and then $50 if the people rent it more than one day. And, in the letter, it tells you that we raised an additional amount of money. It tells how much more we raised because of the increase in there. So, and Brenda has indicated that people were fine with that amount. I'm done.
It's been pretty standard each year, hasn't it? So. I'll move that.
You move, moved by Cobal,
I'll second.
second by Russell, how you vote? Russell,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Cobal? Yes. And you wanna talk about?
The second, item that I have in there is, something that we would like you to consider for your budget. I have some photographs of some issues with the empty doors and the doors around the side. And also, we are needing it to be painted. And so I have two proposals from Roy Sargent Building. One of them is the painting, and that's the one that's $14,849. And then the other one is labor materials to replace two doors for $7,768. And while we know that Roy Sargent is maybe a little bit pricier than some places, he does very quality work, and it is because of Roy Sargent and his employees that we have the depot that looks like it does today. He's the one who did the original restoration. And I don't remember what year it was. Bob, and
The interior was the last thing,
okay.
2014 it got finished.
Okay, so, we're not asking for any money at this point. We know that you're going to be working on budget, this spring, and so we're asking that you put, that as you're considering the budget, that you would put money aside for the depot. Currently, this bid is around $22,000. Matt, is Matt here? Matt is writing a grant to where?
The Guthrie County Foundation,
Okay.
and that has been submitted.
Okay, so Matt submitted a grant asking for $11,000. If that's the case, then the city's portion would be $11,000 to do these things. If it is not, if the grant is not given to us, then we would ask that you consider the $22,000. Something that I omitted to put in there is that there's a downspout on the northwest corner. There's a missing downspout, and it needs to be repaired as soon as possible because of deterioration of mortar. And I think is it Jim that we would be looking at? Oh, there you are. Jim, are you aware of this? And
We have the one complete downspout in the shop.
okay, so you're going to be taking care of that.
Yep.
Okay.
The other one is missing. They're
Okay.
both on this end are missing.
Oh, both of them.
Both. We have one, the other one I have no idea where it went.
Oh, okay.
Happened during that Dory show.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just a
Or steel?
color match down.
Okay.
So is that something that we need to be getting a bid from, or is that something that you are taking care of?
We will just have to find the color match for the other one.
Okay.
Just get it.
Okay, so those are just some things that we want you to be aware of and some needs that we have to continue keeping the depot in good repair. Do you have any other comments about that, Jim? Okay, and then, the last, thing that I wanted just to let you know, Brenda, Dudley, did a tourism grant for Adair County, and we are going to be putting, and I don't know, did I put these pictures in?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so these are things that, we already have the money for. through this grant that Brenda applied for, and we're going to put a bench and then a little sign that looks like this. That's going to have, and I can't pronounce the guy's name, so I'm gonna ask Bob.
Jack Caraway.
A quote from him from the book that he wrote from when he stayed in Stewart. And we're gonna have those placed over in front of the depot on the, I'm so bad with directions, west, northwest corner. Eventually we're going to put brick around that, and we're, thinking about possibly selling more bricks at some point with more, to give more families a chance to have a stone there in their honor or in memory of their relatives. But that's not something we're asking money for. That was just for your information only.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, just in the placement of that bench, just, let us know so that we can look at it,
Yes.
so that it's not in the way from mowing.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a couple of other ideas, so we'll have to get together with you when we have the stuff, so, and decide what we're gonna do.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thanks, Lori.
Can
All right,
I
thank you.
ask you a question? real
Yes.
quick? So, are you asking the council just to go with sergeants, or are we gonna get other bids also? Because I think it's prudent that we would get another bid, at least one, if not two.
Mike, I can speak on that behalf. So, I got a bid from Roy, Jim got a bid from another guy. There was a lot of difference, but Roy also put in a lot of things that he would do that the other painter wasn't gonna do. So you have to compare apples to apples. So it really wasn't
Well, you didn't have a set of specs to go by either, so.
okay.
Yeah, so there
So-
is really a process, because and I'm not saying this is
Right.
wrong, I'm
Right.
just saying, Jim has a process when he submits bids and stuff on this, I think we should probably follow it
Right,
on there, so we can compare that, because, we are spending other people's money, even if it's
Right.
$1,000.
right,
So maybe, in the meantime, kind of get some specs worked up or whatever, and maybe have at least two. I think we normally get.
Yeah,
two or three.
Okay.
Yeah, it need to be like.
Oh, sure.
a bunch, but
okay,
Something like that,
All
if you
right.
could.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
We can work on that.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 6, Brenda Dudley.
Okay, thank you for having me tonight too, and thank you for the money for the depot, I appreciate that. For Midwest Partnership, I think everybody was here and heard my first other than Dave. Do you want me to go through that spiel again, or?
Well, we're good. Well, you missed it. Okay. No, we're good. You can.
Okay. So, like the utility, I am asking for the same amount of money. Thank you for funding in the past, and last year you funded $1,782, which is again $1 per capita. So when you do your budget, I would like you to consider that kind of.
And we do that for many years, so that's a standard.
Okay.
So we need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Russell,
I'll second it.
second by Dolly. How do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Kaba?
Yes.
Thank you very much. The next thing on my list is White Pole Road. I am the director of White Pole Road, and it's a corporation, nonprofit. It started in 2002, and the reason for it starting pretty much is to bring tourism into the area. It starts over exit 75, 100. Starts at 100 off the interstate, goes 26 miles through Adair, and it ends at exit 75. So it's 26 miles along the 5 communities. And I have written grant after grant after grant, trying to get money to help us paint those poles, because that's our signature is White Pole Road. We have the poles painted. The first time they were, well, in the 20s, they were painted, and it was a way to lead travelers in the right direction. So those poles, 500 poles were painted in 2003 through 2005, first time since the 20s. And since then, we paint them every 5 years. We hire people to do it. Jim Kaczynski has painted a lot of them for us. But the last couple of years, we have hired a company out of Des Moines. It's a DX painting company. They come in and he paints 100 poles in a matter of 2 days. We have to have special primer because creosote leaks through. So we have to prime them, paint them, and there's 547. So We have all but 200 left to paint. We're hoping to get those painted this next summer, but we are completely out of funds. So the board is getting older, really don't want to do fundraisers, so they asked me if I would come to the 5 communities and ask for funding to help us paint those poles. So I'm asking you to consider a $1,000 donation towards White Pole Road so that we can continue painting those poles and keep them looking nice and professional for the communities. So that is my request for White Pole Road.
Have you made this proposal to other communities yet? And what has been their decision?
They're gonna talk about it when they do their budget.
Okay.
I've been to Menlo, last night I went to Adair, so I still need to talk to Casey and Dexter.
So this is, I mean, you don't need an answer tonight, obviously, right? So we can just add that to our budget discussion.
When are they planning on painting? Assuming the summer.
Yeah, they said anytime this summer. I've already paid him $500 because with the grant that I was trying to get, he wanted money up front, so I've already given him $500. So with that, I think they'll be pretty good to work with and come when we want them.
Have they given you a price? Did they?
And when Jim Kaczynski paints, we pay him $30 a pole. Yeah, they're quite a bit higher.
We'll consider to the budget work session coming up. Thank you.
And then the last thing is, just again, FYI, the Bonnie and Clyde run, I think this is the, 5th year, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. We are planning that for April 20th. We're gonna move the time and start it at 9 o'clock rather than 11 o'clock, hoping that maybe we can get more people, because at 11, we are thinking it kind of ruins the day for everybody. So we usually start in Dexter, run the 5 miles down White Pole Road to Stewart. So that's still our plan this year. And it is the 90th year that the Stewart Bank was robbed in 1934, so this would be the 90, I don't want to call it an anniversary, and we're gonna honor the people that were killed by Bonnie and Clyde. Is our specialty for this year. I do that the form to get the streets closed, have not done anything with that, but I think I have time, so.
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything about the dinner? January?
Oh, yes, do you have the copy of
Yeah.
it? Yes, Midwest Partnership is having their annual dinner on January 25th. It starts at 6 o'clock at the Casey Community Building. We are having a speaker this year, Bill Manner, and he's supposed to be just an exceptional speaker. Everybody that hears that is like, oh, he's a real draw. So, I know you and Lori are coming, so thank you for that. So if you would like to come, we'd appreciate it. Just let me know and we can get you added to the list.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, mowing, Jim Henderson.
You want me to call Jamie? You want me to-
Okay.
Both of you.
Both of you can.
Yeah, both of you.
In your package, you should have a proposal from the current lawn care contractor that has the contract for the cemetery. And in discussion with Ash, we would like to just continue that contract another year.
Yeah, really reasonable. I haven't heard any bad thing about
I
it.
was just gonna ask you any
And
issues. so-
the,
Now, I've talked to numerous people that, are out there quite a bit and nobody has any issues.
Sometimes when you take a lower bid, you end up having to have somebody come in and finish it.
moved by Carlos,
Okay.
second by Tony.
Okay, how do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Nolan?
Yes.
Oliver?
Yes.
Thank you, Jim.
And I want to thank you guys for the wonderful job moving snow.
We're just getting started, but
It sounds like
yes.
I'll bet you be grouchy by Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, 8, upcoming city insurance,
Okay. Yeah.
I just want to say that I went through this last year and I thought it was a poor proposal from the other company besides EMC. And EMC paid out tremendous for our hail damage. We've had a couple different things between police and rescue that EMC has been involved with. And I think they're a wonderful company to work with.
And I will add to that, that the utility had that discussion, it seemed like you said. Also, they decided to continue with EMC. That's not what the insurance company, a lot of insurance. I put it on the agenda ahead to make sure that we don't go through what we went through last year.
Well, and I think, there's a lot of dynamics to what happened last year. It wasn't just a poor proposal, but there was a lot of other controversy that happened that caused that to be a late proposal, et cetera on there. Now, I suppose it's fine for an appointed board to just go ahead and do it and maybe not look at other proposals. But I feel as an elected official, I think we should put it out there for proposals. So we can get that. And if we're early enough, it's not gonna happen, especially now with rates that are so high, how do we know we're gonna get the best one without seeing it? I stick with companies that I like too, but then there also comes a time when I go, wait a second, this is pretty high. I go out and shop. Now, if I'm not just gonna throw my money away, I'm not gonna sit here and just blindly throw it away for somebody else. I wanna get the best deal from what's out there. If we have time to do it, now's the time to get it in the paper and get stuff going. That's my opinion. And I would make that motion to do that.
And I don't disagree with Mike. One thing I think I remember from last year's discussion with all the insurance, excuse me, isn't there something unique with the way the utility department has to insure their side that their options over there are limited, and it goes to a completely different type of insurance if they shopped outside of DMC? Do you remember that, Ash? There's something on that?
Yeah, a while ago, the work comp was high on the city side, and utility was better off to get it on their own to lower the cost and all this stuff. And there's circumstances, all these things, and that's why I put it on the agenda in January. It's like,
Right.
I don't wanna go through last year.
Right, no, I agree with that.
Jim, you got something?
Yeah, I just think one of the most critical things is to make sure that you are pricing apples to apples.
Right. I mean, if we do bid it out, we're gonna have to have somebody like John Gabronson or somebody else that's been in the insurance field to study both of them.
If we decided to do the proposal, we have a standard to put in the paper for everyone to bid on. So no one can come and tell me that I'm bidding on something the other is not bidding on.
Right.
And that's really how I wanna do it this year. So when we get here, we don't have that thing that we went through last.
So I got a question. Mike made a motion. We haven't had a second yet, but can you have the utilities have EMC and then we have somebody else? Or you can have two separate.
It's, in the bachelor's, we prefer to have both in the same direction for the price reduction. But I don't know if that's still in effect or not, When it gets to insurance, insurance is a big subject. It's not like what we do is Jim's proposal. These things we have more control over. Insurance, as you saw last year, a company came and gave you a bid, and other numbers way low. Instead of, because it's something that they designed to be complicated, So for me to give you any input on it, I won't be able to do that, All I can say, we're happy with what we have, because we have EMC for the last 30 years that I have been here and before. So, yeah, they doing a good job. We have no claim that they didn't pay, and they doing a good job. But I would like not to see it like last year.
Right, I think that's the big issue is if we do it, is to not have, I can't remember, but I think the council discussed about bidding this out earlier.
Yeah.
And
So we didn't.
that's what we're doing, kinda.
We didn't.
But, and you have the option, you can continue with what you have, we just did with that moment. You have that option, you can continue with what you have, nothing wrong with it. And you can receive proposal, nothing wrong with that too, so that's why I feel like I'm putting the council, I put the board on the spot, but it's good for us as an organization to make that decision, to don't have to get to April and do it like last year.
Right.
So,
How often, Ash, do you get, or have you in the last 10 years, let's say, gotten other proposals that you could compare? Do you do it year after year,
The
or
last
do you
4
just
years-
continue usually?
we never really bid it out. for about the last 4 or 5 years. It was always EMC.
Cause I think it might be as simple as like, we gather the proposals, you look at them and make your recommendation,
Actually, I'm fine with it. As long as you guys giving me the direction, I'm good with it.
Okay, so do we have a second to Mike's motion then?
I'll second his, but and I'm not opposed to altering that to say that they go to Ash, he recommends something back, and then, then we bring that to the table. I mean, I don't know if I'm really in the position that I wanna go through and look at. I'm not gonna know as much as Ash is gonna know about that.
But when you do that, Ash, I'd like to see if you get a discount, if you have utilities and city, if we go with 2 different insurance, if our rates are gonna be.
There was discussion around that last year, and I thought it would be higher, we split them apart, we could funding with that, so.
So we have a motion and a second. then.
So the motion would be to
Receive
bid
or
it out
vote.
and
Receive
have
or
those
vote.
proposals go to Ash for review.
Yeah.
And if you need assistance, please reach out to somebody, our city attorney or somebody, to go over those to review them if we need to. If you
And
need
I
to.
will come back to you,
Right. Then they'll come back.
because I want you to make the final decision.
Sure.
And to check separate versus together.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you vote? Russell,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Kava.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, EMS committee update.
Oh,
Wait, I got 9, missed one. Resolution number 2401C.
This is just to, we didn't do it when we did the origin. The same, we just put down here the 85 and 15 for the new one. The auditor wanted to see the 85
Oh,
city and 15 utility. So we just didn't put it in the ordinance to have the money goes to the general. So we are passing that resolution to make sure the money goes to the general. And that's the standard we've done, that local option sales tax and all this stuff. So if you're okay with it, we need a motion.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Second by Russell.
So how do you vote? Russell,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Kava.
yes.
Now, Mr. Kava.
All right. So we had an EMS committee. We met a couple times, Sean, Josh, myself, and Dave. And we attended one of the advisory meetings up in Guthrie Center. Unfortunately, I think Sean and Josh were both singing in the musicals that night, so they weren't able to attend, but it was nice to be up there and hear what's going on. And learned a lot as to what direction, everybody's kind of wanting to go, and Dave, just feel free to jump in, on this. Found out that, the county is not opposed to entering into a contract with the city for services, concerns also. We didn't really get a whole lot of stuff worked out that night. The advisory committee, the EMS advisory committee of the county requested a meeting with representatives from Panora and representatives from Stewart. They came out and said they didn't want their EMS directors there. That was the advisory committee that said that. That was nothing to do with Dave or I or anybody else that was there. That was strictly the advisory committee. And that was last Thursday, a week ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so we went up there and we were talking about solutions to everything. And we basically pointed out that we have a county-wide service right now. Whether anybody believes it or not, we do. Because Stewart has been servicing people outside of the city limits as well as Panora. The issue is, how do they keep doing that and not break the people in the city that are paying for it? And how do we get maybe some of the outside communities to start paying more of a fair share? And that's where the bill from the state allowed the county to tax for that. So it spreads that around for everybody. And if the county entered into an agreement and paid money to the two existing entities as they are right now, those could expand their services, because you're gonna be paying, most of it's gonna be going for staff, because you can't staff without money. You just can't have it. You can't get lower response times without staff. You can't do anything without staff. So we discussed how that would look. Again, was settled at this meeting. We did say that we were going to come back and present tonight to our council kind of the direction, well, after that, and discuss what happened at that meeting on Thursday. The way we're looking at it, and what I had proposed that we present to the council.
Let me
Yeah.
chime in a little bit. Too, there's something that I think was a little muddy for me as well. There's quite a process in which this has to go. So even if we, come up with a contract to go with, it has to go back to this advisory committee. They would have to approve it to go to the supervisors to be approved, whether it's gonna go on the ballot or not this November. And I believe it's 180 days or something, they would like it.
They would like it to be
So by April
190 days
or 90.
prior to the vote, and that's mostly to get people out, get the information out to the communities and stuff, because there's not a lot of information that a lot of people outside these committees and this advisory board understand on what's going on.
So we are a little bit on a timetable as far as if we're going to do this, we need to get moving on it to some degree to get the ball rolling, to try and get some agreement. So I think he's gonna kind of share with us. We just need to move a little bit quicker. So that's why we've been meeting so much.
Yeah, we've been kind of behind it on this. I was gonna try to get the minutes of the advisory committee to you. I didn't have your email. I was looking at the agenda and I didn't see the list of emails on there, but I can get that to you.
I have mine too.
Okay, so you can see kind of what they've discussed up there. And there's a lot to it, to me, my opinion of this, it's a good thing. I'm not against working county on this. It's how do we protect our service? Because we've had people that put in a lot of years. And to be honest, it sounds crass, it may sound cold-hearted, but the county is not our responsibility. It's just not. Now, we've had great people on the EMS ambulance service that have the moral obligation and capacity to say, hey, I can do this. I'm gonna go out and help people. And I think we've been doing that for a number of years, probably over 20.
Yes.
I'd imagine, and want to keep doing it. However, things have gone up. Everybody knows that. Things have gone up. So how do you fund that? Well, the legislature has created a way to have that happen. But how do you do that and protect your service and protect your people here? And that's pretty much what we told the advisory committee, and then the meeting that we had on Thursday night. We are going to protect our services. That's the main thing. So what we're looking at is kind of following Penora's lead. I got a motion written up that I wrote up, so I didn't make it so you can hear it. So, and you'll get this. Penora submitted a contract to the advisory committee, just so you know ahead of time. At that point, the advisory committee didn't want to go with it. They said there were some things lacking in it. That's fine, but it's a great starting point. We don't have to reinvent anything. I think we could use their template. We can work with Sean. Sean can work with Ash to get information to put into that template. Because just because we do that contract doesn't mean the county's going to accept it, but we need to do something. So,
Did the
Yeah.
city administrator from Kenora write up the contract?
she could have. I don't know the specifics on that, but she was very.
Dick, I believe it was two city council members, the Lisa and maybe their city attorney was involved.
Okay,
So there was a couple of them.
yeah,
But
so,
just for the record, as far as I know, and I don't know very far, right? But I don't think it was like, John De Laverne, who's their EMS director, I don't think he wrote that up.
yeah, I don't think he did either, but, you know, again, I don't know, I didn't get into specifics, but I know she was very proactive, she's been very active in this. You know, I know Panora, they said they had approached the county in 2021. So we're going on 2 years now, and there's not a lot of information out there, you know, on figures other than, well, we think we could get this much in tax, you know, et cetera. So they want to have a vote this November. So again, you know, we're kind of, but I would, this is what my motion would be, is I move to refer Panora's contract template, which they approved with a 5-0 vote, to Steve Brick and Emulate for Sturt EMS. Refer EMS budgeting needs and possible county revenue contribution to Chip Schultz for scenario planning and recommendations, which will be incorporated into the EMS contract. Further recommend to continue teamwork approach with Sturt Council Committee and City of Panora. And direct the city administrator to work with Sturt EMS staff in collaborating with Panora EMS for cost-saving measures to include but not limited to supply purchases, etc. Draft the financials and contract due by February meeting. Special council meetings may be necessary due to timeliness set by county on levy vote. Sturt Council Committee will involve EMS and City Hall staff as needed to acquire data for aforementioned needs. That would be my motion to get this on.
Before we go, you might have a couple questions. That's a lot.
Who is the first name that you mentioned in there?
Steve Brick.
Steve Brick, yeah,
Who's that?
he's an attorney.
Attorney.
Yeah.
The most we've taken out general fund is what, 165 to support the rescue, and last year is 125,000.
Between the revenue and expense,
Yeah.
deep lane money, we spend
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
But did we ever get the figures from Panora? I asked if we could have what theirs was the last 10 years, out of the general, what?
I think that the budget can go to.
We know their shortfall,
Okay.
at least the last lately.
It's a lost operation. Doesn't matter here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and it's gonna
if
be,
you-
But that's not how they do it in Panora, because it's not a loss operation always for them. Because since they have the hospital contracts, they can make money.
I'm talking about us.
Yeah, I know, but he's asking about
Yeah, but
Panora.
I asked, I
And so-
wanted to know. what
well, I
the
think,
10
I think
was
what maybe Sean's saying too is that theirs has fluctuated tremendously because
because of the
how long have they been contracts with the two hospitals?
Well, they've been with Guthrie County since 2003 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So they've been with them for a long time. They just redid the contract with Guthrie County and then started the Audubon transfers over the summer.
Right, so they just started that they wanted more revenue coming.
Right, but they work it as, it's not a budget like on a general ledger number like we have. They don't have like an ambulance, police, whatever. They work it as in like, it's almost like a credit card where when they have money, they have money. When they don't, the city pays them with the expectation that they'll eventually pay that back. So even year over year, so over the last 10 years, let's say they had 8 good years where they've made money and 2 years where they haven't, then they just have less money in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like, that's why it's not the same as
Really,
ours.
when I do it this way, well, the lady, you can look at the budget, you see laws, that doesn't make any sense because you don't know really how they operate, but they operate this way because of their structure. Over here, structure different, so you can't really compare apples to apples because you don't have the Guthrie hospital and all these contracts you don't. You're strictly working on your general fund. So for us here, when I call mass operation, it's strictly right between the eyes.
But Sean, I got a question. When you go to Menlo or Casey, we don't have a contract with those towns. Panora, do they have a contract with Yale?
We do have a contract with Menlo.
Menlo,
I don't go to Casey very often, but it's a similar contract with Panora the way that we have it. So they had initially, I think for a while, paid like per call that was in there. They would get like so many dollars per call in the cities, and then I think recently it's been like a set fee or like a township thing versus like per call.
okay.
So
And we do the same thing with townships.
yeah, we get township money, and then Menlo actually, like, it's a donation, right? But they give us money, thousands of dollars every year to respond to their territory.
Yeah,
And I think part of this came too, and you both can correct me if I'm wrong, but this came about because Panora essentially had asked the surrounding townships to raise that rate to,
yes,
recoup. Was talking about when you go outside city limits.
Yeah.
It's just a loss. I mean, we're just
Yeah.
not recouping what we're
You're not gonna
getting.
be able to raise that money to support what the townships want. I mean, I understand if you're paying for something and if you're paying for an ambulance, you want a good response time. I do too.
Yeah.
But if I pay you $200 and I want a 8-minute response time, that ain't gonna happen. It isn't gonna happen. So there needs to be a way to increase that revenue to be able to put more staff on there, where possibly in the future they could put an ambulance in a different community and reduce those response times. But you're not gonna get it by just going, I think it's the millage rate, is that right?
yes.
And is it 40 cents or 42, is it?
I have to look it up.
Okay, but they were giving fire so much of that, and they asked for the difference between what fire was giving and for the EMS. So you're looking at, say, if they're giving fire 25 cents, that's only 15 cents. Did they get some money? Yes. And they talked about that, and they were very open about that, but it's barely enough to pay somebody's salary.
It's really hard geographically. We are kind of an anomaly with where our services are located, because we're way in southeast, Panora's middle east. And so like the north,
Middle would be okay.
so like the northwest portion is very much in need of services. So, I mean, that's a major problem too. So our hope would be that with an increase in a budget, with more staffing, we could put an ambulance in Bayard or on the west side of Guthrie Center, or, wherever that needs. We don't know where those are. I mean, that's gonna be something that Sean, or if we refer this to Chip, come up with some of this. They can say, okay, we need to put this in this city between the hours of whatever and whatever to help with that response time.
And that's gonna be the real minutia of the details. Right now, we're just trying to get it to where we get something going so we can get something, especially if they want this timeline, which they do.
In this county group that they've been meeting, they've done a lot of this work too. They've been doing that. They have a lot of this information, so.
But Dave, I got a question. We're getting taxed already for our ambulance here.
Yep.
If they do that, are we gonna have another countywide tax we're paying to support?
Well, it depends. So I'll be 100%. They said if they go with a county tax, it's up to the cities and the townships if they still want to pay towards EMS services.
Okay.
It's up to us, because that was a question we brought up.
And if we didn't agree into a contract or go with this, we would then be double taxed.
Yeah, right.
Just like we are with the police right now.
Right.
So, because we pay for county services for the sheriff, but we want the service just as much as we want the EMS service.
And that would be the same thing for the townships. They would. With this advisory committee, they know they're assuming that they're not gonna continue that tax. If this goes through, they're already gonna have whatever the tax might be, if it's 75 cents per thousand or not. But they, in their numbers that they're gathering to come up with their totals, they are banking on not getting any other money besides the county money.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit, okay.
I gave you the motion, that's my, I guess, I don't wanna speak for you, Sean, I know we talked after that meeting, you seemed fairly open to it. I kind of told you what I was looking at doing, so you got the heads up.
I mean, I haven't read that motion, but
You can come up and read it, or I can read it again, or whatever.
I think,
Basically what I'm asking is just to, emulate the Panora contract. So just as we do this, it's not final as far as the county.
right, and I think that that's an important distinction to make, right? That it, whatever we decide now, the EMS advisory committee that's together currently is not the committee that will make any of these decisions. So whatever we come up with now, we can come up with the best plan ever, and then, let's say, go through all the hoops, it passes, another committee would be formed that would be like the council that handles the money, and then they ultimately make that decision. So, you know, a lot of this stuff is really just so we have a better, the advisory council committee has a better idea of how much money they're gonna need, so they can go, you know, because obviously you would want as low a tax as possible, you know, especially if, since you have no control over, you know, are the cities gonna double tax or the townships or whatever, you know, you would say, well, we only need 60 cents because this is kind of what we're looking at. But ultimately that they don't make that decision. So then whoever is on after that, they would say, okay, this is what we want to do. You know what I mean? And so having these contracts is great because then you have an idea of like what the cities would agree to or what the townships would agree to or whatever. But, you know, a lot of this stuff is, you know, like a duck with one leg where you're just kind of spinning in circles. So
And it could be all for nothing. I mean, we
Yeah,
could make a contract, we think it's great, and they don't approve it. Or they don't wish to bring it to the supervisor, and we just go around. And if we don't meet the timeline, under my understanding, we'll just try again next year with some sort of a deal.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some limitation on how long this could just sit in limbo, but I mean, yeah.
I think they said they had one that did it like 3 years.
Yeah,
So,
I've heard,
Yeah, so, and again, like I said, you know, this is an attempt to do something, you know,
right,
is to put it out there, so, and like I said, it's not to, we're not against it. I think, I know the majority of the board, last year's board, was definitely against the proposal as brought to us at that time, because of a lot of sticker shock. But then, you know, when we went there, it was like, oh, well, these guys are opening to listening to us, they listen to Panora, so why aren't we doing that?
Mike, I got a question. Have you or anybody reached out to the other towns that just passed this last November? Through what, 3 towns or so?
There was
four
four
counties.
counties, there's 4 counties, and I went out and looked at some of the websites and stuff, and there's not a lot of information. You know, I got a full-time job that I gotta do, so I can't be doing a whole lot of reaching out, on that. But there's a variety of different ways people do that. If you look at Dallas County, I think Dallas County was brought up as an example. You know, and they said, well, that's kind of a good example, and when I talked to somebody that works in Dallas County, they said they got like a $4 million budget and on a $1 million deficit every year. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but they're behind. And that's Dallas County.
I'll tell you what, we're doing here in Stewart.
Yeah.
To make this.
And I know Dallas County has Dallas County Ambulance, and then Granger, I think, is separate from them, they said.
I mean, there's,
And
Dallas
I
County.
just have a quick question before we move on. Did you say the contract from Panora was rejected by the committee?
the way it was written at that time,
Yes. So, if we go ahead and that's the resolution, you want us to take that
as a
Contract.
template.
and just what, do you want to develop it? Do you want?
Yes, that's what it would be. And I know we talked, at our meeting, I think it was Friday, right, after that? And we talked that, you know, we could use that template, because we don't want to have to sit down and write something out ourselves. It's already written out.
Lots of, you're good, I just wanted to make sure it was on the same
Yes, that would be,
line, so we can take that contract and give it to Tony and tell him, that was objective, improve it to make it
Right.
acceptable. So,
And then, of course, we'll need to, if we pass this motion, we need to get some, information to Chip. To look at, different scenarios, on what we may need. And just go forward from there, and then we give it to the advisory committee, and then.
And they're gonna probably
It's in
make
there.
changes, they're gonna look at it.
which is fine.
It's in there.
Did you read that motion?
Mhm.
I think it's a good way to do that. I don't have a problem with those.
I mean, yeah, the only thing I guess that, again, I'm coming at it from a different angle that the rest of you are, is that we also have to consider that, like, this is all being done and formulated by people that don't work in ambulances, you know what I mean? And so you guys can come up with the best plan, whatever, and something that the city just loves, and they're like, yes, this is the greatest plan, but what if we don't wanna do that? What if that doesn't work for us as paramedic providers? And the same goes for Panora, because they have the same concerns, you know what I mean? And then you're out, you guys can put this all together, and then half of all your employees leave, because they're like, well, that's not what we want to do.
That's why we're asking you to help work on this.
Yeah, that's what it says there, right?
I mean,
You do that.
Like, Steve Brick is not
No, no,
mean,
no.
Chip Schultz is not mean. I mean,
Read the.
I did, I'm just saying that, like, you have to consider that that's also a major component to all of this, you know what I mean? You guys have your concerns, and that's great, and we do too, and so it's again, like he said, kind of a give and take, we just have to make sure that we're gonna come up with something that not only the city will agree to, but that the people actually performing the work are gonna wanna do, and the services as a whole. And I'm not, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we can't do that, I'm just saying that
But that's why I said, that's why
Yeah.
you're here. Because I don't know, I'm not gonna tell you how to run it. You can figure that out, but we want your input on this, It's like if you say, well, we agreed to put an ambulance over here. You better be darn sure that we can do that. Cause I'm not, if you say it, okay, I'll probably go with that. Or we're gonna do this, I'm going to rely on you, just like we rely on Jim and our other department heads to give us those recommendations on that. So that's what we need. Referring it to Steve, totally legal stuff, Of
yeah,
course.
I mean, I
To
don't
Chip,
know,
of course, money stuff, just kind of look at the money stuff. But the rest of it, the writing up of the contract, that would be,
And you spoke about how, like, some things that you had concerns of, or things that you would like, perfect scenario, how do we get another crew? You talked about another town, how they do the on-call, like Winterset.
yeah, Madison County, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I think that's all things that, again, we're kind of throwing you under the bus on this. You have
No,
more work on your plate,
Yeah,
but
I think,
you would work with Ash, and if Chip or
yeah, that's
Steve had questions, they would
pretty
reach out.
much, I'm gonna back that up, and what Mike said is, you're involved with these things, if the guys had motion, tomorrow we'll send it to me and ask him to talk to you and me and see if you have any question, you'll copy them what we're doing, all these things. I think it's a good way to do it, really, is to work around, because I am with the impression that maybe after all we do that, like Doris said, they might say no. You see what I mean?
Right,
But at least-
like I said, this
At
is.
least we did our homework, kind of, we're trying to put it together and
Yeah.
match what Benoit is doing and submit something. They might say no, and like Doris said, I will go back to the ground zero. That's okay, we did what we have to do, but you're involved. I
Yeah.
want you to know that, and I think the motion gets that too. I heard it once, but I think I grasped on it, that you're involved, I'm involved. We have the information, we can give it tomorrow to the attorney to work on it, and Chip, in one email, that whole thing will be covered tomorrow when you copy on. So you're in the mix of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And if anything happened that you think you need your opinion on it, don't hesitate, because like Mike said, he doesn't want you to be away from the process.
I don't think we can do it without your input.
And that's good
I
way
would
to put it.
hate to do it that way, Because then it's, I'll be honest with you, we could do it that way. We don't want to do it that way. I feel it's very conducive to everybody's relationship that you are 100% involved. 100%, no doubt, nothing. 100%, you got to be there. I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to run it, and if Dave doesn't, even though I'm on the fire department, I don't know how to run it. Because I don't.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
I would,
Okay.
if anything gets printed or in writing, I would like to see your approval on it before I even look at it.
And that's how it's gonna.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's gotta
I mean,
follow
it'd just be like
That
any
chain
other
of command
department.
up, so.
So I feel good about it. I'm good. We're gonna follow the motion
Yeah, I mean, I'm-
as it is, and we'll see how we're gonna come up with, because I don't know how the county is gonna do it, to be honest to you, because we've been doing it here for a lot of years, and I have struggled to get to this point. And I don't have a county hospital contract, I don't have any. And I'm saying it where everybody can see me and hear.
And that, our
We've been
discussion,
doing it, sorry, Mike, we've been doing it without all this other source of revenues.
and we've
managed to
run
make
a pretty good ship, haven't we?
it.
I mean,
Yes.
we're not going broke by any stretch of the imagination, kids. If we are, and Ash is not telling us that we're going broke, then guess who's in trouble? Ash.
And
You
Ash
know?
has been doing it for 30 years, so Ash doesn't have to go through this.
And if we have the ability, if we can work with the county, and if they desire to supplement us, and we can expand and provide even better service, because I know that's what the end product is. That's
Right,
always, that is what it's about. Let's not get anything wrong. That is about providing service, okay? Myself as a council member, I have to look out for the people that elected me. That's the city of Sturgeon. I know it sounds crass, county's not my problem. But I understand that because I go out on calls with you, I go outside of the city limits, I want to provide that service. But it costs, there's no doubt about it.
and that's why this is coming up, is because
Yes.
it would be easy for Panora or Stewart, and this, Panora just has a lot bigger area to cover that is not theirs, to say, well, we just can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's what the county wants to make sure doesn't happen. So that's, like you said, that's really the end goal, is to make sure that the people that are not inside the cities are given that service regardless of, and then there's some way for the city to be able to do that.
And I would like to see how they gonna do as a county.
Right.
Because it would be interesting for me that we are without any source of revenue except the loan money that you bring,
Essentially, yeah.
and the others have other source of revenues. And these struggles, as we struggle, you see where I'm coming from? I wanna see what struggle they have that I don't have, and I have it twice. So, and I don't want that to be taken away from me, like what Mike said, he doesn't wanna give it away. You see what I mean, as a rescue unit. But for this whole dialogue that we're going around here for the last half an hour, I think we have to do our due diligence.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Mike is proposing, I'm backing that up, fine with.
I mean, yeah, at the EMS advisory committees, I've actually been saying that for months, like, we need to get these people in here who know these numbers, because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how those contracts work. I'm not Chip Schultz, I don't know the county finances and those dollars work,
And I
so I
think,
totally agree.
all these recommendations, all this stuff, and it will allow us to really learn more, because for as long as I have been doing it, I'm still learning, Yeah, we had success of doing it, yes, it's a lost operation, but with your help, we managed to make it, with your help of your staff, we managed to make it, and we hope we continue on doing it, because, yeah, we can come one day and say, well, we're running out of money, you see? And nobody's gonna blame us when we say that, because we really don't have any other source of revenue, and we're serving the whole area, with your help and your staff's help, and with the council backing us up, supporting us. But let's deal with that specific subject with more understanding of what everybody's trying to reach. I understand this area, I understand your area. Let's try to combine it, get you involved, and reach the goal of coming up with a product to take to the county. And guess what? If they said no, we'll come back and talk about it again. If they said yes, we see how far we can go. I see the council very passionate about it, that they don't want to give up the rescue. I am in the same boat. I don't want to give up the rescue because I worked hard to get it to where it is. You worked hard to keep it as it is, So let's continue. If you're okay with the motion, if you're passionate about it and Dolly is good about it, we can move on. We can continue the process. And
Yeah, it's
see-
more or less, we're just kind of giving some formal direction
Sure.
on what we want to kind of look at. It's not, it's
Let's
just direction.
Let's keep going and let's see how far we can go, because we're talking about something that is not in our hand now, it's in the county. See what I mean?
Yep.
What's in our hand, I'm gonna put that as a last statement that I'm gonna make is, see, moved in second, not to give up. That's it, we're done with the subject, really. But I appreciate how you're trying to go through it more with open-minded. I'm trying to reach out to the county and trying to match up like what Panola did and all the stuff. I respect, and I'm good with it.
I think we kind of got our minds changed a little bit on the approachability of the county at the advisory committee, because I was under the impression it was just that way and no way. So I'm glad that we were able to get the committee going and go up there to discuss it, and it was like, okay, so let's step back and take it in a different direction instead of just saying no.
And I'm glad to hear that from you, Mike, because that's, Corey's not here, but I'm speaking on his behalf, because that was his point last meeting, is that when he went there and told, he understood more and changed his mind. So that's probably, if Corey's watching us later, he would back me up on saying that thank you for backing him up now, and I want everybody to be having that kind of communication that we all kind of get along and try to move forward, because we're all here for the benefit of the town and the good for the town. So if Sean is not having any comment or anything, I would ask for the motion.
Do you want to just get that back?
Yeah. Mike, let's have it again.
Because I cannot.
Okay. So we have a motion, we need a second.
I'll second.
Second by Dolly. So how do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
11, or Matt Paul?
Okay. Matthew Lepke with Quick Start. Well, first of all, when Quick Start purchased the property, Seed had negotiated that Quick Start would put in a sign. Welcome Stuart. Matthew Lepke of Quick Start has made a recommendation to put thank you for visiting Stuart on the other side of it. We're just asking for a motion to approve that.
They gotta pay for it, so motion will be good.
We need,
I got a question on the sign. Now, in the end, who, is this gonna be a city responsible sign in the end? Do we pay the electricity and the upkeep, or is Quickstar gonna do that?
That's all as the city.
It's all the city?
It is, so all they're gonna do is just put it in.
Just put it in?
I don't think gonna pay for that.
is there gonna be landscaping or anything around it? Is it,
I don't think so. Do we have a landscape?
maybe that should have been a Jim question earlier.
We can ask Jim.
I didn't know if we were gonna landscape around it or if we were gonna just mow up to it.
I think they're not dealing with all that, it's just dealing with the sign. So whatever we have existing is not be changing. He's just gonna put something in the back of the sign.
So they're just saying to add. the
No,
thank you
no,
for
no, no,
visiting, Stuart?
They're putting a whole new sign on the south side of the interstate, correct? Yeah, in Quick Star's like parking lot, not by the parking lot, but by their entrance, right, or whatever.
Out
No, the
by-
other side.
It's similar to the McDonald's,
Right,
the Welcome to Stuart.
whole other side.
Hold on a second.
My understanding is that sign that we have, they're gonna put something in the back, so.
The city council had already passed Right, east. I don't know how far back, but, so,
So this was part of the purchase agreement. It says that Quick Start install a welcome to Stewart sign at or near the northwest corner of the property along Division Street. So it'll be a little bit just to the north, kind of like maybe where you get off to go onto I-80 eastbound, right? Kind of right up in there.
right,
Okay.
right off,
Yeah.
close to the, on,
Similar,
So that's where they're gonna put that sign. So we know a sign's gonna go there,
yeah.
okay? And then they're just saying they want to add the thank you for visiting Stewart. Is that right?
yes. There's-
So-
On the other side.
Right now, the sign has already been approved.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to, I'm not downplaying it, but I don't know if we need to worry about landscaping right now. I imagine it'll be,
I would worry about it after that, because I was thinking about inside we have,
Okay,
just
yeah.
within the bag, but I would get more information about that kind of, landscaping and all this thing, because you don't want Jim to get mad and. It's like,
That's what I'm getting at, like
Yeah,
I
I was
said about
in
the bench here, like, I just think that, I don't know, that's a good question, I mean, who's gonna pay for, I mean, the city's gonna pay for the lighting, but I just wanna make sure if they, if they hire out a lawn care company, I don't know, I just,
we have a person that's doing the city properties right now. Remember we hired.
right, but it's gonna be on
We
Quick
gotta go
Start's
back
property.
to Jim now.
It's on that's on Quick Start's property. It's gonna be on Quick Start's property. It's not in the easement, right?
It's on Quick Start's property, the city has, so I would assume they're gonna hire out a mowing company, let's just say it's Schwingers, right, and he would have to mow
Yeah,
around.
if it's on their
That's
property.
my
yeah,
understanding too, but if you wanna make sure that what it is, because I was under the impression that that sign, they just gonna put something on the back, and I was good with
All I'm
that.
saying is the sign's going in right now.
Yeah,
It's
But I
already.
don't think we need to, do we need to make a motion?
wait now to see the details, Matt can.
You're just
grasp
gonna
all
give it
the
an update,
details,
aren't you?
and we can present it, we're gonna have an upcoming here, special meeting.
But all they're asking for is to add that verbiage, right?
Yes.
That's literally all they're asking for is that.
If
verbiage.
you're good with it,
I mean, we can always discuss landscaping and mowing and all that some other time, because that's this, but if the sign's going in, can we put this verbiage on it?
okay,
I
no
move that
problem.
we, I move that we do.
Okay.
Move by Carl.
Caldwell. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Russell. How do you vote? Russell?
Yes.
Nolan?
Yes.
Caldwell?
Yes.
Too complicated. Okay.
Yeah, second.
You got anything else, Matt?
So, no.
No, thank you.
My report's been submitted, you guys have any questions regarding mine?
Public forum or anything?
Okay.
Oh, I got one thing.
Oh, Michael.
I got one thing. It's that time of year again, we are in the new year, and I know we didn't do it last year. And Craig, you're kind of new to this, but you probably heard. We do or have voted to do a performance review of our wonderful city manager. We don't have a specific form to use, we didn't vote on that. My thought is, his job description is in our code of ordinances, you could look at that, when are we gonna start talking budget and stuff?
Actually, when you get done, I'm scheduling Tuesday, 27th.
Tuesday, what?
27th.
23rd.
27th or 3rd?
Third,
3rd?
5:30.
Can you make that one?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So,
January?
I know Ash is looking forward to it,
What is it?
the performance review.
I gave you a form last year and nobody responded.
I know, that's just it,
It's
yeah.
fine.
So I just wanted to bring it up early, kind of like the insurance thing, so everybody knows. It doesn't have to be, just put down how you think you do it. I think, we owe it to Ash, to let him know what we think he's done right. And go from there. It'll be a benefit to everybody. So just
All right, thank you all.
That was good.
See you.